Dear fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, hi everyone. How many decisions do we have to make every day? How shall I know? Even though most of the decisions are unconscious, like making steps one after another in the correct sequence, of course. Sometimes drunk people mix it up a little bit. However, there are still lots of decisions we have to make every day, from morning till evening. The ancient Greek, like Plato, they thought when we make a decision, it is either made by emotion or by reason, by mind. Later on, our scientists found out that by looking in our black box in our brain, that decisions we make are always a mixture of mind, reason and emotion. Imagine you are in a supermarket, you like to buy a salad dressing, and in front of the shelf you see, half a dozen of products, and you do not have the experience to make a decision. How do you decide? By color? I don't know. However, I would like to tell you a little bit about a test. It was made in the USA on a university. They offered a course for photographers. After the course, when everything was done, the students were offered to make a decision to choose for one of the photos, and they were allowed to take one photo at home, but the professors, they organized two groups of students. One group was offered to choose for a photo, but later on, when they have chosen their photo, there was no more the chance, the option to make an exchange later on. The other group had the same option, but additionally, they were allowed to correct their decision later on for an exchange. Then the professors made interviews to find out who is and was more satisfied with the decision. Believe it or not, the group which had not the option for an exchange later on, those students were much more satisfied with their decision. The other group students were always thinking, have I made the best decision or not? Shall I exchange later on or not? This is the problem with decision making. And now I would like to tell you something about a vacation. We had been to Switzerland. We had been in a hotel in a valley about 1,400 meters altitude. One day we liked to go for an excursion by car to visit a nice restaurant in another valley. To visit this valley, there was a need to use a very narrow road uphill. And to use this road, it was necessary to go uphill according a time frame that was signposted already before we started driving this road. Later on I found out why. It was so narrow, it was a little adventure, I must say. I got warnings from the distant warnings from both sides at the same time. And that was really a little adventure, I can tell you. However, later on our way to that restaurant, I realized we are on reserve with our fuel, with the remaining fuel. And now I started to think about. Every minute I became more anxious, more afraid that we do not have enough fuel for later on going downhill that narrow road. Even though I knew we have still enough fuel. Due to experience, I have known that I still have enough fuel for almost 100 kilometers. But you see, I started to worry more and more, and I was so afraid to stuck in one of those narrow tunnels later on due to lack of fuel that, yes, we returned and drove downhill again. It is the fear to make a wrong decision. This is one of the problems with decision makings, you know. And now at the end I do not have any solution or conclusion. This was just nice to talk about decision making, and let me say thanks for listening. Have a nice evening.